Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV and to another co-cast with my man Andy. Welcome
Hi,
back to the channel, Andy.
thank you very much.
See something kind of different today. This is a recording you made for us of your first-person perspective for your Week 5 Farmland League game versus Raghna, right?
Yeah, yeah, week 6, but yeah, I recorded both my matches against him, and you can see how slow and old I am.
No, I'm sure there's a lot to learn and unpack here from your play, so really looking forward to it. This is, yeah, game 1, of course, on Heartbreak Hill. Did you make any decisions about this game before it started? Like, considering your opponent in the map?
I think I played Raghna on this map maybe 4 or 5 times before, um, so I kind of felt like anything could come out because he's played it against me a few times and we tried different strategies on each other. So I don't think I think he's capable of maybe doing some quick rush or something like that. So I was just trying to be a bit more cautious in my opening, maybe.
What steps did you make to kind of play more cautiously, or do you like kind of change? What changes did you make?
I make 2 grunts here before any cons. That's a bit less greedy than I would normally do, just in
Hmm.
case there's a flea rush or something.
And looks like 3 mechs into 4 wind turbines.
Mm.
As soon as lab finishes, we add an additional turbine here, and yeah, we're getting these 2 grunts initially.
Yeah,
So
sorry. Yeah, grunts are quite energy expensive, so I was planning to walk and make a 4th mechs before guarding, but since the wind had been so strong, I decided to guard out these couple of grunts first before walking to a 4th.
So you're saying when you had enough energy to assist a factory to kind of get these grunts out?
Yeah, so I left my commander on the factory until the energy got low, and then I moved him away.
A little bit of a hiccup there, but no worries. And what was that? Was that the constructor bot? You came out and put the radar on that hill?
Yeah, first thing that
Okay.
it'll build.
First radar, and then moved down the hill to create the mechs. So I've seen a few of your games on this map. Do you have a specific timing you like to move out with the commander? Is there something you're looking for, or
Um, I'd normally expand with my commander really early, but this game I was trying a different style of just keeping me at home guarding the lab.
mm,
This was after playing the previous week against CLO and losing to him guarding out lots of grunts early on, and him getting map control that way. So I didn't want a similar thing to happen this game. I just wanted to make sure I had enough build power early on.
yeah, for sure. We still have a comfortable amount of starting mass. We have decent energy balance right now, and you have, what is that, 1-2 constructor bots? Are those exploiters, or are those just straight mexes you were capping there?
They're straight mexes for now. But yeah, I've got 4 cons out, I think. I found roughly where he started, so I know he's kind of
Yeah, that's good to know.
mirrored to myself. And managed not to lose any of the grunts.
Yeah, that's a good move. Confirming where he's at, kind of, it makes a big difference on this map, surprisingly enough. Like, which high ground if they spawn on one of those, or of course in that little pocket expansion you've started in.
Mm.
So we're just pooling grunts, assisting the factory. You have the great radar on the high ground. I do this in my own games. It's kind of like perfect for the bot lab open. You just walk up that little hill.
Yeah, the energy drops quite a lot here, and it stays low for quite a while, if I remember correctly.
This can be really
Low
frustrating.
power.
Have you found a timing to make energy storage? Is that something you've kind of been have a timing with? Sorry.
I've not got anything like exact written down, but I think it is useful when you're on mostly a wind economy, definitely. Maybe I should have an exact, well, not exact, but good guide of when I should do it, but I normally just get it when I've got a bit of spare time or build power or resources to throw into it.
Yeah, I kind of lately in my own games I've been working this out. And after the first construction turret, I'll try and throw in an energy storage. That's what I've been kind of leaning on lately. So this map has some pretty interesting maybe theaters to contest over. How do you approach maybe map control in this map? What strategy are you bringing into the mid game? Because we're kind of approaching that now. I mean, 5 minutes in, we haven't taken any damage. Like, what are you thinking now? What are you?
I think good radar coverage is most important. So that kind of lets you know where you should be going, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So here I can see exactly where he's attacking me, and I realise I don't have enough grunts to cover everything, so I kind of sacrifice those 2 unguarded mechs at the top and try and just protect this one at the bottom instead. Because there's a constructor there, which I see is more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair trade, I suppose. You can protect your constructor bot and the one on the high ground as well. So you have the radar. I saw you pulled back those 3 forward grunts to that radar on the high ground you have there on the right hand side.
Yeah, so the wind has been low for the last maybe 2-3 minutes now, so I've been struggling on energy a lot. I assume he has 2. Maybe he's built more solars than me. Yeah, he also had a lot more grunts than me, so I'm thinking it does feel quite bad to be taking all this damage, but also he's probably not made as many constructors, so he's probably not expanded as much as I have.
No, definitely not. And I suppose some saving graces, we have a lot of mass in the bank, and I mean the commander's right there in the main base, so it's like you can rebuild a lot of this infrastructure pretty quickly, I'd imagine, especially if that constructing turret's still up.
Yeah, if the wind ever improves, I could maybe finally spend that mass.
I mean, I see you haven't added on any solar collectors. Is that you just being stubborn, or you just don't see it worth the time? Like, why didn't you add on a few solars?
I added on a couple with my commander when the wind was really low.
It's finally coming back up. See, you're adding one just now.
Yeah, I like to add them on with commander just because then he can fully use his build power.
Yeah.
So those costing 0 energy instead of him just wasting sat next to a lab. So I will just pop to him when I'm stalling and just pop down an extra solar here and there.
That's a great insight because solars don't take energy to produce. So if you're low on E and wind is low, you can just use the commander's build power and the mass you have in the bank to kind of get that out quickly. So you're adding on another one, despite the wind's at 10, right? Which is like ideal for wind turbines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad position. You still have those 2 radars up, so I mean you can cover that constructor on the bottom side. We have the one in the mid that's under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
That.
I managed to place some exploiters as well on the south side now, so I don't need to worry too much about having units to defend that.
On those 3 mexes, you say there is an exploiter down there.
Yeah, the 2 right-hand side ones, they're exploiters.
Oh, that's great.
And then the one near the hill, it's an exploiter as well.
I've been doing the one tucked up by the radar you have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess there's 2 radars. Are you building an exploiter there, or is that just a straight max?
I think that's an exploiter as well.
They're so strong. I mean, it's just
I think they're definitely underrated.
Yeah. You're adding on. Excuse me. Those are advanced solar collectors.
Yeah. So on maps where you're making a lot of winds, but the wind has the potential to go low. Try and add on a few advanced solars whilst the wind is high, because they're very expensive energy-wise anyway. Because you won't be able to add them on whilst the wind is low, and they are much better than the solars for that energy production. So I'm just trying to get them some now while the wind is good, to cover me for when it drops again later.
Yeah, that's great. Looks like you have about 200 base E, you'd call it. Well, plus what your commander is used. I see, what is that? 2 advanced, 4 regular solar collectors, plus what the commander produces. So a strong little base economy. And you're moving into air. Really cool to see.
Yeah, partly because my my energy is so strong right now, and it costs a lot of energy. So I was kind of deciding between vehicles and air. But I decided on air just because I'm starved on metal, so I wouldn't really be able to pump out many medium tanks initially.
Hmm. He has a lot of units in the center there. Is this? I want. If I would, if I saw this, I would think he's still neglecting the top and bottom plateaus, having kind of so much in the center of the map right now. What are you thinking as far as your position is relative to his?
It does seem like he's concentrated on the middle, and he's probably slower than me to take the sides. I've not been able to fully confirm that. I do have a radar that can see the bottom middle mexes, and he hasn't taken those.
Mm-hmm. So you're going bombers first. I didn't see. Did you make a Finch yet, or is it just been straight bomber production?
Can't remember what order I made them, but I think I make 3 or 4 bombers and a couple of Finches.
Mm-hmm.
And,
and of course, we're
reclaiming it. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I'm just doing the one bombing run to try and take out some economy, force him to put anti-air up everywhere.
Yeah.
And then just reclaiming it.
See, you're putting that wind farm up in the top left-hand corner. Just additional real estate to kind of spread out some of your economy.
Yeah, and I find that con is a bit kind of far away from everything when it's finished building those mechs, so walking it somewhere takes ages. I often use that to build a clump of wins.
Okay, so and then we made our vehicle plant, so you're moving into medium tank production. It's kind of unfortunate they have to rotate down through that choke point to get out onto the map, but it is what it is. I see you made 2 LLTs up there, canceled those wind turbines, anticipating an attack, and you're getting your targeting, your bombing run right now, so you issued some attack commands
Metal
there.
extractor lost.
Yeah, so he was quite ready for it though. He had anti-air up, so it's just the one run that I got.
Bombers are very effective against mexes as well, so I mean, if you've shown this before, or he was anticipating that, we could also just attack the outside mexes to try and force him to put anti-air everywhere. Unless he kind of had the inclination that was coming. It seemed like he was really prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
Metal extractor lost.
I think it's quite a common switch for such a big map. I think the bigger the map, the stronger air is, because you've got more areas you have to cover with anti-air.
Oh, that reclaim, sorry. That reclaim order was so close.
I think he ended up dying to the mech's explosion or something.
Oh, that's perfect then. That's kind of could have been a lot worse, right? So do you ever try and weave in like shuriken play, or if you do make an air transition? I guess we can always go back into it, but at that point in the game, you were just looking for eco damage to kind of get ahead, I suppose.
Yeah. I think shurikens can be strong. I don't think they're as good with when I'm heavy on the grunts, just because the grunts don't have much DPS to kind of get in there whilst everything's stunned. They kind of benefit from long, drawn-out kiting kind of fights.
Yeah, you need more time for your grunts to kill those paralyzed units. So you're finally adding on the energy storage and some energy converters for... Got a lot of E. Lost that top plateau and you're counterattacking on the top side. That's really strong. What is that? 7 medium tanks? Big push in the middle here. Seems like that's going to be a reclaim field here. What you see?
Yeah,
well, there's a lot of reclaim on your side of the map right now.
Yeah, he's done quite a lot of damage, but he's also behind on unit count now because he's used a lot of units to do that damage.
That's a perfect counterattack. Cleaning out those LLTs, the constructor, all the mexes, so really good damage. Got a couple pounders. What is that? Pounders there on the top side, fighting in the middle, pulling back. Of course, it's not a good trade. So you're just continuing. What is it? Grunt production. I saw you just made those res bots to go get to that reclaim field, which is a really nice way to supplement our economy.
Yeah, grunts and reses. I like the mix just because grunts are very cheap on metal and kind of complements the medium tanks well, because one costs a lot of metal, one costs a lot of energy, so they don't kind of affect each other's production too much.
Mhm. See, you're anticipating that attack coming down on the left side, moving into position. This is a nice little clear out here on this bridge, taking out those LLTs with your medium tanks, kind of shaving off a little bit of that. Pretty much for free. I mean, you can't imagine you've lost too much. Trying to retake this plateau here. Gonna be 15 minutes into the game. Do you have a sense of like if the game is even, or
Radar
are you
lost.
concerned with anything?
I felt like it was quite even up until maybe a couple of minutes ago. I feel like the last couple of minutes have gone really well for me. I've got a lot of good raids done, and there's quite some wreck fields, but I've also got a big
lost.
resbot army kind of amalgamating them onto my side.
Yeah, you've definitely gotten some decent amount of value out of those resbots the past couple minutes. I see there's that pressure coming on the bottom side of the map. Are those exploiters on the high ground? I can't really see.
Yeah, 2 exploiters and then I think 2 normal mechs behind them.
Those are really well supplemented by that army. I'm curious to know. It seems like that trade would go decent enough for you. Push in the middle.
Grunts are really strong here because they get a lot of flanking damage when the numbers are like this.
Extractor lost.
It's a big consideration. I mean, 2x damage is huge against such tanky units. And really strong pickoff, and yet more reclaim, you know, on your side of the map, I'd say. So you're rezzing those tanks in the center. What is that? You're peeling off just a few to come down there?
Yeah, I think 4.
Okay. Nice control, splitting off some of those units. Got the high ground kind of secured. You got a decent army up there, but he has a lot in the mid right now. This is kind of scary, actually. Maybe not so much. There's a lot of grunts actually. So he's got grunts coming in here, clearing out these exploiters now, which is not a decent trade. So kind of half of that army disappears. You can move it back up onto the high ground.
Extractor
Yeah, so
lost.
a lot of medium tanks. Lots of exploiters. Just makes it so difficult to raid, honestly.
Extractor lost.
So far away from the base, like you don't want to go all the way back out there and make stuff. So really strong. This is the interesting kind of position in bar where you don't really have to attack. Like all you have to do is sit, try and go split map again, get these mexes back up like we see you're doing in the top side, and get all this reclaim and Rex. I mean, there's still some reclaim there, still in the bottom mid. Looks like he's found an opportunity there on the bottom mid side of the map, pushing with that tank army, and just trying to control him from coming through this gap here, which is so tough to move through at this point in the game. I see this a lot. Players try to get through that gap, and it's tough.
Aircraft spotted.
Come back to the factory, add on the bot lab.
He's just lacking in enough medium tanks to do the damage whilst everything's done.
Right. And see, these anti-air bots are kind of making their way to the front line. You have a lot of res bots there too to repair those. So really making good use of that. This is a huge run by. I mean, you cleared off his entire presence on that top plateau. So really strong. I mean, we're 18 minutes into the game. There's no thought of going Tech 2, is there? Or is that just kind of like a win war?
I think it's. It needs to be a slower paced game. I think this is too. Whoever kind of wins these wreck fields is going to win the game.
Yeah.
So you need to keep the momentum on your side for this type of game.
Yeah, of course, contesting that reclaim field that's in the center mid right now. So I mean, I'm seeing there's like some on that plateau, but I mean that's just what is that, like 4,000 mass right there we're looking at, and you just issued a res command. So strong on energy, but not enough mass. Is that something?
Yeah.
You feel more comfortable with resing them at this moment, or?
I think when you have the strong energy economy, then it's always worth to res them. It's basically free army mass-wise, because mass will be the restricting factor mostly.
Right, of course. I didn't see, did you put up any anti-air in your main base? I mean, you just got that one bombing run off.
I didn't have any in the main initially. I had some at the top which he flew over, but
right.
yeah, he's killing a lot of the wind farms.
Yeah, absolutely.
More successful than my bombing run.
Yeah, for sure. That was like half your E right there. So kind of getting worried at this moment. I mean, you're getting this great trade in the middle here. Are you?
The cost of this air switch is that he's kind of fell behind in army.
Looks like it. Yeah. Like, what are you thinking from this position? Like, are you thinking about losing this game? Do you just want to go like an attrition style, or like, how do you see yourself winning this game, kind of in this moment?
I feel like I've got map control now. He doesn't have any top or bottom. I have the wreck fields. The only thing he's got going for him is that he's just destroyed my energy economy. But I also have the largest standing army, so as long as I can hold these kind of big wreck areas, rebuild my energy and resurrect everything, I should be quite comfortable now.
That's interesting. You're not really so much focusing on getting the mass into your coffers, more or less just using your resbot army, getting the value that way. What is that on repeat? Is that 2 grunts, 1 resbot on repeat from the factory?
I didn't notice, but it might well be, yeah.
Hmm. And I have 4 LTs up there trying to reclaim this. That's a huge resbot army right there. So many halos. Yeah, so it looks like you're just trying to lock down the middle of the board, like what we talked about. You have units all along the center here, putting up exploiters on the top and bottom plateaus, and you have kind of rather large tank armies distributed.
I don't know if you noticed that, but I just took my bot factory off weight. So I'd put it on weight a couple of minutes ago and all my energy got killed, just so I could use the energy to focus on resin.
T2
I didn't see that.
Detected.
And do you play on grid hotkeys? Is it what keys?
Just the default ones.
Okay. Interesting. Another interesting little player adjustment there to put your energy intensive factory on weight while you're kind of low on E. It's pretty cool to hear. I didn't notice that. Probably wouldn't have picked up on that insight watching the game either. So. That is a lot of fiends. Are you kind of worried about that? I mean, he's in between your base and your army right now, so...
It feels kind of like his last hurrah. And I know most of them have died along the way, so as long as nothing crazy happens here, like he gets a bunch in and kills all my energy again, or my commander dies, but I feel like I've got enough stuff just to cover it off now.
You're trying to get up a few of those LLTs before they get there. That was nice control. Your factory production is able to clean that up. So yet again,
extractor lost.
You have map control. You have the reclaim fuels. You have the resbot army out. It's kind of like a fat matter of time. Oh, this is 3 more fiends coming in through the backside. That is not good to see.
Yeah, switching the nanos to high priority.
Okay, trying to get up that 2nd tier LLT. I'm not sure what the name of that core unit is.
Twin Guard, I think.
Twin Guard, yeah.
Metal extractor lost.
So now that you've seen him show T2, are you worried about him at all in any sense, like having like a T2 economy, or do you just have so much at the board you're quite comfortable, it looks like?
I think I've just been able to kind of maintain my unit count. I haven't lost many units during this, and I've been able to res a lot. So I feel like my standing army should just slowly kind of suffocate him. I think even if he did have all his max T2 cap now, we'd have similar economy.
Right.
Just with the amount of map control.
Where do you think Raghna went wrong in this game, or rather, what moves did you make correctly to kind of get in this position? Because is there
Um,
anything that kind of stands out to you?
it's difficult to say too much because I've not watched the replay yet and seen from his point of view. I mean, it was a close game. Small things probably made the difference. Maybe some of his attacks ended up just leaving wreck fields which didn't do too much damage, especially the ones through the middle. And they weren't really to kind of take land which had lots of metal spots on it, so I kind of focused on raiding him at the top and bottom.
Those were big raids, man. I mean, he made those big plays through the middle, but when you move those 7 tanks along the top side, I mean, you cleared out all that expansion. More towards the mid game, you made that big play down to the bottom plateau and cleared out all that. So those were some pretty big plays. It seems like that over time won the game, and that'd be my interpretation. I don't know where that went wrong. We do have a second replay. Could always review that. Not sure how you feel.
Yeah, I can fire that one up.
Can edit out this middle part of the replay too. So